Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm very excited to bring you a review for the new Marvel Legends Korg Build-A-Figure wave, Groot, from the movie Thor: Love and Thunder. Groot is the final package figure that we'll be reviewing for this wave, which means after this, it's time to look at the full Build-A-Figure. So that part's always really exciting. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we want to take a good look at this new Groot. And as you can see, this new Groot figure represents Groot during his teenage phase. So basically how we've last seen him after the events of Avengers Endgame. So he doesn't seem to have grown much since then, which means that this movie must not take place very long afterward. I wonder how long it's going to take him to reach full adulthood. I miss adult Groot. Like, baby Groot was funny, and even teenage Groot has his moments, but I just miss like big old deep voice Vin Diesel Groot. Yeah, I know he always does the voice and they just modulate it, but like I just want to hear like the deep, I am Groot one more time. Anyway, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Groot's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll get a look at the figure itself, I'll get a quick look at the Build-A-Figure piece, and then we'll check out all of Groot's posability, we'll check out his accessories, and he comes with more accessories than most of the others. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Groot comes in your standard Marvel Legends packaging. You get your Build-A-Figure call-out up here, you get his name down here, and your Thor: Love and Thunder logo above that. You see Groot here on the right side, and he's a very tall, lanky tree man, or tree teen, whatever you want to call him. He actually comes with an extra hand, which is a trigger finger hand to hold this big laser rifle. And then he also comes with this long vine, which I presume is going to take the place of one of his hands for a vine attack. So pretty cool. And then you get this big old torso area for Korg right down here. We turn it to the side and we get artwork of Groot looking, I don't know if he's supposed to be annoyed or defiant, but he doesn't look very happy to see us. And we turn this, we get more of that artwork, and now we can see what his hands are doing. So it actually looks more like he's ready to put up a fight, or he's just, exclaiming in some way. All right. Look at this write-up. So we get his name and we get his flavor text. And what is it? It is I am Groot. You got a bunch of jokers over there at Hasbro. Okay then, that's what they wanted to go with. So down here we get a render of Korg, and then we get to see the cross-sells for the wave. So we got Armored Thor, Mighty Thor, Gore, a lot of similar sounding names. Korg, Gore, Thor, whatever. King Valkyrie, Ravager Thor, Star-Lord, and now Groot. So that makes a complete wave of 7. And unlike most MCU-based waves, every single character in this wave is from the movie. I should say at least most of the ones I've seen. I haven't actually counted to see, what's more common, but from what I've seen, there's usually at least one or two, kind of oddballs thrown in the wave to flesh it out. This one is all Love and Thunder characters, so very interesting. All right, so that is the packaging. It's pretty cool. The artwork, it's okay. It's not the most exciting thing I've ever seen. It's good though, it's always well drawn. So now, let's go ahead and open this up. Now we get our toy out of the package. So let's first look at the Build-A-Figure piece. So this is Korg's torso. He's got a ratcheted little neck stump here, so he can move his head up and down. Ball jointed torso. There's the arm sockets. He has universal hips, which is nice. And he actually does have a waist swivel on top of the ball jointed torso, which is really cool. Now, these little, side flap things here, they're made of that same soft rubber so they can lift up and move out of the way of his legs. However, if you look at these, they're held on by like 5 little thin strips. You see that? And I have no doubt that if you bend these things outward, too far, too many times, these are going to start breaking on you. So I would be very careful about messing with these. Like, I would very much minimize how much you push these things outward, because I think it's only a matter of time before they start breaking off. So just, I'll put that warning out there. I feel like this may not be the best design ever. I mean, it's probably screen accurate, but from a stability standpoint, I don't see that lasting. All right, aside from that potential issue, the sculpting and everything is great. The paint is great. I love the big ram belt buckle he's got here. It's a really nice torso piece, and I really can't wait to go ahead and assemble the finished product. Alright, but back to Groot now. We get to see our tall, lanky tree teen right here. And he's very posable for a very unconventionally shaped figure. So his head is on a ball joint, and it's also on a hinge, so he can look way up or way down. His shoulders are universal. They don't lift up very far because of clearance. They go up about that far, then rotate. He's got single bend elbows because his arms are so thin, but he does have an elbow rotation. Universal wrists. He has a swivel in his torso, and because it's a little loose, you can get some slight forward and backward motion here, but I don't think it's a ball joint. I think it might be a ball joint. Maybe it is. No, I take that. I think it is a ball joint, so it's just a fairly tight ball joint. It's got universal hips that can actually spread out pretty far, go back and forth, single bend knees with a knee rotation, and your standard ankle rocking and rotation. So just about as posable as a standard, like, normal humanoid figure, and he looks really good. His details are great, lots of sculpted texturing. The head's really cool. If you look down inside, he's got little sprouts coming out the top of his head, and I think that's, like, simultaneously well done and also just hilarious. And he has what looks like some kind of tree rings in the top of his head. So very, very cool looking. His face sculpt's really nice. The eyes are painted very well. He looks really good. And now, you may notice that I said he comes with an extra hand and a vine. Turns out he comes with 2 vines. This one, you don't even see in the packaging. It's like way down on the bottom. So he's got 2 options. He's got one long straight vine, and then he's got one that looks like, his fingers are kind of spreading out. So first, I want to go ahead and look at his weapon holding hand and his rifle. And now, a lesson I learned from Star-Lord about messing with these fingers, I'm going to go ahead and put the rifle in the hand before I attach it, just to make it a little easier on myself. And it's kind of hard to do because this is like where the little trigger guard is. So you pretty much want to get the index finger and thumbs around this. And once you do that, bring the index finger up, or the trigger finger, whatever to call it, get in the trigger guard, and then you're going to grab the rest of his fingers and just kind of stretch him over the handle, like so. And if you do it all right, you'll get him holding it like this. That's a weird way to hold it because his hand's kind of out to the side there, but it's the only way to get him to wrap his finger around the trigger, so I guess that's the way it's supposed to go. Now, this is only meant for his right arm, so you gotta pull this hand out, stick this one in. That'll go. That's tight. There you go. And you can have him wielding this, but again, he kind of holds it out to the side, so it's a little awkward looking. It's not a very natural way to hold a firearm, but you can have him doing it. You can have him, blasting away along with Star-Lord, and if you have a Rocket Raccoon toy, you can use him too for really cool fight scenes. And I love that indignant look he has on his face. Like, he just is ready to just start shooting and really doesn't care. I think it's pretty funny. All right, let's go ahead and look at the vine hands. I'm gonna try to do this without pulling out his fingers. Oh god, those sensitive, tiny little thin fingers really freak me out. Really do. Get that thumb back over there. All right. So I'll set that aside. We'll pull this hand off, and then we'll have some fun with the vines. And the vines, they don't seem to matter really where you put them. Which arm you put them on. You just got to put them somewhere. So I'm just gonna kind of pick 2 and roll with it. All right. Look at this. So now he's using his vine attack, which can prove to be quite deadly. And I mean, I've seen him put a lot of hurt on a lot of bad guys, or really just sometimes innocent bystanders, unfortunately. So this is, probably the most dangerous part of Groot's anatomy, just the fact that he can extend his arms and legs out into, sharp weapons or things that can forcefully cram themselves in your airways. So I like that he includes these. It really helps flesh him out. He is, one of the smaller, scrawnier characters in this wave, so him getting a few extra accessories helps bulk up that price point a bit. And now we get our obligatory Guardians group shot, or at least the Guardians released for this movie so far. So of course we have Groot. We get our Ravager Thor, who is maybe or maybe not officially part of the Guardians, but we're going to roll with it. And then, of course, we get Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill. So these three make for a really, really nice group shot. Feels a little incomplete because, we're missing quite a few of the Guardians in this wave. Though, obviously, if you have those figures from previous movies, you can always substitute them in because their appearance hasn't changed too much. I think the biggest difference is that Drax has a shirt on now. But Mantis, from what I've seen in the trailers, looks pretty much the same. Rocket, more or less the same. I gotta say, I'm actually surprised out of all the Guardians we got for this wave that Drax wasn't one of them, because he is one of the most differently designed characters, at least as far as his attire for this movie. But I guess they just really wanted to give us a, Star-Lord with a beard, so we got Star-Lord with a beard. And then, of course, Teen Groot, which so far we haven't received a toy of, so he was kind of a must, right? That way you can get him in all three of his, main appearances. You got the adult Groot from the first movie, Baby Groot from the second, and now Teenage Groot from basically Infinity War up to now. So yeah, even though it may not be a fully fleshed out crew, it does make for a good group shot. And Thor with his rock and roll vibes just feels really at home with this crew, and I don't know, I think it works. I really like the way this turned out. And this completes our look at the new Teen Groot figure. Overall, he's quite light on mass compared to other Legends toys, and he somewhat makes up for that with a good amount of accessories, both his rifle, the two optional hands, and then, the vine hands or arms, whatever you want to call them. So he may not be the best bang for your buck as far as, the total amount of plastic here. I imagine he's probably pretty skimpy compared to others. But he is a lot of fun. He's highly detailed, very posable for what he is. I mean, he has limitations based on his design. And he does come with a lot of accessories, so he's a lot of fun to play with, to pose, to do, photos and stuff with. I also really love the attention to detail on the head. Point out the little sprouts coming out of the top of that. I thought that was really neat. And the paintwork is pretty good. Not the most fleshed out paintwork. It's mostly relegated to his head and his arms. And then most of his body is just like brown plastic. So that could have been a bit more intricate, little bit, maybe some black wash there to highlight the details. But overall, he's pretty good. Got a great face sculpt, and he's just a very cool and different looking toy. So, personally, I recommend him, even if he isn't the most economically valuable toy out there. I just think he's got a lot of value as a character and as a design, and is so far your only way to get the teen version of Groot. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would pick him up. I think he's great. Of course, that is just how I feel about Groot. So now I want to know what you all think of him. Is this a figure that you've been looking forward to? Have you been wanting to get, the teenage version of Groot for a while? Or do you just like Groot in general? Or maybe you just need a Groot at all. Maybe you don't have one like me. Or is this something that you don't want? Maybe it's too tiny, you're not getting a lot of money for your $24 or so. Or maybe you just don't like the Groot design, don't care for a teen Groot. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you like this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. And thank you for joining me for this look at the new Marvel Legends Korg Build-A-Figure wave, Groot, from Thor: Love and Thunder. With all that said, I will see you next time.